Are jobs in Karnataka meant for Kannadigas only? Karnataka has been in the eye of a storm this past week over a contentious bill that proposes job reservations for locals in the private sector. Following severe backlash from industry and business leaders, the Siddaramaiah-led Congress government put the bill on hold, promising better consultations with stakeholders. Does the bill run afoul of the constitution? What are the other ways that the state government can think of to protect the interest of Kannadigas? Namaskara, welcome to Decode Karnataka, a show where we give you the most incisive analysis on everything you need to know about the state. Last week, the Karnataka cabinet passed the Karnataka State Employment of Local Candidates in Industries, Factories and Other Establishments Bill 2024. The draft bill mandates 50% reservation in managerial positions and 70% reservation in non-managerial positions for local candidates in private firms and establishments. The bill defines a local candidate as anyone born in Karnataka, domiciled in the state for 15 years and who can read, speak and write Kannada. For those who do not possess a secondary school leaving certificate, it mandates that the person take a Kannada language proficiency test. Of course, within hours of this development, industry and trade bodies raised an alarm, calling this bill regressive, short-sighted and unconstitutional. They said the move could drive companies away from the state, impacting jobs and foreign investment. At the time of recording this video on July 22nd evening, the state cabinet is expected to take up the bill again for extensive discussion and possible revision. But Karnataka is not the first state to propose job quotas for locals. Previously, similar bills were passed by Andhra Pradesh, Jharkhand and Haryana. However, they made residency their sole criterion without the need for language proficiency. Yet, they ran into trouble. So despite obvious legal issues, why have states repeatedly felt the need to protect local interests? What has been the history of job reservations for Kannadigas in Karnataka? Let's bring in Sharath Srivatsa, Senior Deputy Editor in the Karnataka Bureau. Hi Sharath,
Hi.
Thanks for doing this today. To start off and put this bill in context, like Karnataka, many states in India have felt the need for measures that seek to protect local interests. And in Karnataka, especially, this jobs for locals issue has found resonance in quite a few ways. Say 1986, the report by the Sarojini Maishi Commission. Very recently, in 2022, the Kannada Language Comprehensive Development Bill. But what led to the origin, the beginnings of such a sentiment in the state that wanted job reservations for locals? Where did it all start?
It started soon after the state's reorganization based on the linguistic criteria. And Bangalore saw the starting of several PSUs, so public sector undertakings like HMT, ITI, BHEL, BEL, and all these industries. By the 70s, the local Kannadigas started feeling that they have been left out. They have not been given enough opportunity because these institutions were set up here.
Yeah.
But those voices were far and fewer. In the early 80s, the Gokak movement, the language movement that started, gave a fillip to that demand. And in 1983, Ramakrishna Hegde, the late Ramakrishna Hegde, set up the Sarojini Mahishi committee to study the impact of PSUs and PSUs, banks, and the central institutions on the local employment. So the committee was asked to see how locals have been employed.
Okay.
This is in 1983. And by 1985, the committee felt that it is not only the public sector, even the private sector had to be included. So it asked the government to rephrase the terms of reference, in which the state government as well as the private sector was also involved.
Okay.
Originally, Sarojini Mahishi's committee's terms of reference did not have private sector.
Okay.
So by 1986, it gave its recommendation. There's a set of 58 recommendations, of which the reservation, the quota fixed for Kannadigas, recommended for Kannadigas, was one of the major ones. So it suggested 100% reservation in the D group employees. And interestingly, in jobs that would fetch a monthly salary of less than 1,250 rupees, the committee suggested, it has to be 80% of the jobs had to be reserved for Kannadigas, and in jobs that were filled through direct recruitment, so it suggested 65% reservation.
Okay.
So after which, for a couple of decades, nothing moved. Actually, here and there, Kannada activists started urging the government to forcing the government to implement the Sarojini Mahishi recommendations. And as part of rhetoric, every government also play to the gallery till about 2000. Till to about 2020. So in 2019, BJP for the first time tried to bring changes to the industrial standing order rules.
Okay.
So that the standing order rules also guide the way employment is taken up, the hiring, firing, demotion, and all kind of everything related to human resources. So, but it avoided putting any cap or quota on this.
Okay.
So it just said that you have the private sector has to prioritize Kannadigas in its employment. So it also cited one 10-year data starting from 2011 to say that why Kannadigas are important in the industry, because in most of the industrial accidents that had been reported in the 10 years, it was North Indians who had borne the brunt.
Okay.
And the Karnataka government suggested that it was because of language barrier.
Okay.
But that rule did not move forward. It was not taken forward. Before Mr. Siddaramaiah's government, now in the recent weeks, came up with this bill.
Okay.
Even 1 month back, this government was not toying with the idea of the bill, as far as we understand, because there were it was considering changes to the same industrial standing order rules that the BJP had tinkered with.
Okay.
So, because last month there was one big consultation that had happened in which the quota was also discussed. But between then and now, what we are given to understand is the government felt that a different act is required to implement the long-standing demand.
Okay, which actually ties in with my next question, that the response of corporates to this particular bill, the Karnataka State Employment of Local Candidates in Industries, Factories and Other Establishments, the current bill, has been very critical, right? But why is that? What are their issues or concerns that they have raised with this particular bill?
See, first of all, the private sector may be feeling that they could come under some kind of control of the government, especially with one of the provisions of the proposed bill that says that a representative has to will sit through the recruitment process. Right. Which has been opposed bitterly. It takes away their right to choose the right candidate for the post that they are hiring for. Yeah. And the 50% quota in the managerial positions that has been proposed in this bill, they feel will also is not based on merit. Okay. So it also looks at the competitiveness. If there is no merit in that, the competitiveness of the company might even come down. Right. Okay. And then the companies are also feeling that many of the current IT companies here may relocate to the the neighboring states that are already dangling carrots to them. Yeah. And fresh investment may be affected. Okay. And it may take away that sheen that Karnataka has gathered over the last 2 decades of being the IT hub of India.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because like you said, Kerala and Andhra Pradesh did roll out the red carpet for industries, with ministers of both states saying, come to our state and trying to woo the capital to their state. This clearly shows that industries have a big role to play in the state's economy, and which is why when the backlash happened, the Karnataka government was very quick to put a hold on the bill. But, do you think in this way, corporates are trying to dictate the policy-making power that the government has, and deciding what is good for its people?
See that there is a feeling in one section among the top functionaries of the current government that the private sector is trying to force its way through the policies. No doubt, they believe that Karnataka has been investor friendly, and many of the policies Karnataka government has been in the forefront in bringing changes. Especially to enable a reasonably good environment for the startup ecosystem in Bangalore. But every time, something that the government wants to bring in, especially in terms of labor, the government, some of the ministers, couple of ministers off the record, they believe that the private sector is trying to overstep its jurisdiction in trying to guide what government should do. Of course, the government is interested in making the state investor friendly, but it does not mean that the policy has to be propelled by the private sector instead of the government sector, especially so for the labor issues. That's what they feel about it.
Okay. I've spoken about this earlier, that this is not the first, Karnataka is not the first state to introduce such a bill. However, ours has put the onus, a part of the onus on the language proficiency. But a similar act was struck down by the Punjab and Haryana High Court in December 2023. So do you think the Karnataka bill, even after the possible revisions, because as we speak, it could be taken up for discussion this evening. Do you think this particular bill can pass legal scrutiny?
One part of the government machinery also believes that this bill was hurriedly put through the cabinet test to divert the attention from the Valmiki scam, the financial irregularities in the Valmiki Corporation, and the alleged irregularities in Muda. But we're not very sure because there are divergent views on this.
Okay.
But there are constitutional issues like whether this will muster the test of the right of residency, right to freedom of movement, and the equal right to equality in opportunities in public employment. Whether the state government has the powers to put the residency as a clause in public employment, and also because the constitution does not provide any provisions for reservation in private sector. So there are a lot of other issues involved. We do not know how does the Congress government here want to take it forward.
Okay. But these sort of legal issues aside, do you think that bills that call for job reservation for locals are practical at all in any sense?
See, when I spoke to a couple of trade union leaders, they had their own they expressed their reservations and said it is not quite practically possible, because in many of the industries, the locals are not coming forward to do that job.
Okay.
For example, in the hospitality industry, where you find a lot of North Indian and people from the North and the Northeastern states, local employment is not possible because people are not coming forward. And similarly, in the construction sector, some of the skilled jobs like tile laying, granite cutting, or even for that matter, carpentry, the high-end carpentry work, many of the locals are not coming forward. So that is why they say it is
coming forward in the sense
there are not many people to work.
They do not have the skills to do that.
They don't have the skill. Even if they do have the skill, the numbers are not big enough to meet the demand of the market. So in plantation sector, for that matter, when you're not getting employees in coffee plantations, so you're getting people from Assam and other states where plantation workers are available, because there is quite a huge wage disparity. Like in Assam, the minimum wages for a plantation worker is 6,000, and in Karnataka it is 14,000 rupees per month. So people are willing to come from Assam and other states to Karnataka to work on plantations, whereas plantation owners are themselves finding it difficult to have local employment. Employ local workers on the plantation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are practical difficulties in several sectors, to implement this kind of a law.
Okay.
Another important thing that the trade union leaders are talking about is, though there is already a fiat by the government to employ a certain percentage of locals in the large industries, it is not happening because the industries are also bringing in workers from other states for the C and D category employment. And there are also their allegation of violation of minimum wages, allegation of workers being made to work overtime. All of these are coming in. But despite that, the trade unions are saying that instead of complaining about all these things, it is better that the current laws that are there to be implemented well, so that whether it is a person coming from the northern states or the southern state, they will have a equal level playing field.
Bills that propose job reservations for locals have been criticized for furthering parochial sentiments. But more importantly, they have not passed constitutional muster. So is there a middle ground where both local interests and business interests can meet and thrive together? This is something for the state governments to work towards. I'm Nalme Nachiyar, and I'll see you in the next episode of Decode Karnataka. Until then, follow The Hindu for more such stories and videos.